Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. As you log on, if you wouldn't mind staying muted for me, because I think we're going to have quite a few people on this afternoon. And if you could let me know in the chat who you are, what your business is, and also where you are up to with LinkedIn, where you're up to now, maybe what your main challenges are, just to make sure that I can tailor this as much as possible to you. Waiting for everyone to log on, and then I'll share my screen with you and we'll get started. Esme, you've never used LinkedIn. Amazing. Well, you're going to find out loads about LinkedIn today and how you can possibly use it for your business. Welcome, Jane. You've got 3 businesses, a beauty training academy, a membership program, and a retreat. Amazing. The retreat side is where you think LinkedIn would be good. You've got an account, done some things, but not major. Amazing. Hi, Susie. You're a holistic life coach for women. You ad hoc use LinkedIn and would use it as you believe it better place for your target market. Amazing. Well, hopefully you will see some things that you are already doing today and some things that you're not that you can add to your strategy. Hi, Julie. Personal brand photographer. Been on LinkedIn for a while. Got some engagement, but needed to work better. Amazing. We'll talk about that today as well. Hello to Raki, holistic fertility therapist. You use LinkedIn sporadically, but feel you would like to use it better. So we've got some common themes today, which is amazing. Welcome, Rachel. You're a business astrologer. That sounds exciting. Trying to restart your LinkedIn presence after having used it in the past in a totally different career, and you want to move away from old connections. That's amazing. A lot of people are in that position as well. Good afternoon, Helen. You're an executive coach. You use LinkedIn, but you're just beginning to grow your business using it. And you're on my LinkedIn Launchpad program. So we're going to work on that together, aren't we? Amazing. And Mary, you don't use it, though you've done one of my earlier courses. You have. And you're with Utility Warehouse and need to use LinkedIn more. And we're going to be doing that together as well. Amazing. So welcome along, everyone. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you this afternoon. So you may be able to see me, but I won't be able to see you. So please do use the chat box as much as possible. I will ask your questions as we go along. But if you do not get your question answered, I will go back to all of them and make sure that we cover them in the Q&A section as well. Estelle, you've used LinkedIn for recruitment in your HR career, but need to establish yourself as an independent consultant. A lot of people have used LinkedIn in their corporate career, need to use it for business, not quite sure how to do it. But we'll talk about all of those things today as well. Amazing. I'm conscious of your time, so I will kick off and I will just keep letting people in as we go along. So today's presentation is called the exact steps that I would take if I was starting out on LinkedIn today. And the reason I decided to do a masterclass about this is because I've been on LinkedIn for 14 years. I have lots of connections. So you may very well look in from the outside and think it's okay for Lindsay, it works for her because she's been on it for ages and she's already built her audience. So what I thought I would do is I would share the strategies that we use for our LinkedIn management clients. Because not only am I using them every day for myself, I'm using them for clients that are starting brand new from scratch. LinkedIn has changed dramatically since I went on there actively in 2010. So we can now help you to get there much faster with less stress than I had to go to get to where I am on LinkedIn today. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. As I said, use the chat box as we go along and I will answer any questions that you have. I'll also be sending out a recording later on as well, so feel free just to listen if you don't want to make any notes, and you'll be able to do that on the replay later as well. Amazing, let's get started. Okay, so this is for you if You are brand new to LinkedIn, as some of you are, or you are using LinkedIn but not generating the results that you would like. So this is for you whether you are already active or not. You are probably here because you want to generate more leads for your business. This is for you if you want to be super targeted on who you bring into your world, because LinkedIn can allow you to do that. It's for you if you want an exact blueprint and steps to follow to generate LinkedIn success for your business. And it is for you if you want to turn your LinkedIn profile into a lead generating machine. Because done properly, it should do a lot of the hard work for you. Okay, housekeeping. We'll be together for around 60 to 90 minutes, depending on how many questions you may have. I will stick around and answer as many as I possibly can. As I said, use the chat box as we go along. If the question is appropriate to answer at that point in the presentation, I will answer it. If not, we'll do a Q&A at the end. Please make sure that you are all muted, just for the benefit of the recording, so we'll send you out all a replay later. And that will be sent as soon as we have downloaded the live. Okay, as a thank you for watching live as well, at the end, I'm going to be letting you know how you can win a prize worth £749 plus VAT. This is an absolutely amazing prize, and it will be something that is done for you by me, which will really help you to get your LinkedIn strategy off to a flying start. So I'll tell you how you can be in with a chance of winning that at the end. And that is a thank you for not leaving me lonely and joining me on the live today. Okay, so who am I? For those of you who don't know me, I'm a LinkedIn and a visibility coach. I'm also qualified in positive psychology and subconscious marketing, because I'm a big believer that marketing and mindset are intrinsically linked, and that no matter how much strategy you have, unless you have the mindset and you've overcome your visibility blocks to be showing up online with confidence, then you aren't necessarily going to get the results that you are looking for. I have personally used LinkedIn as the main lead source for 3 businesses now: a recruitment agency, a business coaching practice, and a social media management agency as well. And I have taught thousands of business owners in hundreds of different industries how to leverage LinkedIn to generate relationships with their ideal clients. I also run a LinkedIn management agency and use my strategies on behalf of my clients every day. So the strategies that I'm teaching you today are the exact strategies that we're using every day to generate leads for our own clients. And I have been recognised as a LinkedIn top community voice by LinkedIn, and on quite a few LinkedIn influencer lists now as well. So you're in good hands. A little bit of personal things about me. I am mum to Izzy, who is 9 going on 19. If you have a child of that age, you will know exactly what I mean. Been married to Paul for 14 years. We celebrated our wedding anniversary last week. Fun facts for you: I'm an identical twin. I'm also a #1 best-selling author with 2 books coming out in the next 12 months. And I've been self-employed for 14 years and counting. So I'm totally unemployable at this stage, as I'm sure those of you who are self-employed would agree. It's not something that I want to go back to. And LinkedIn can help you to do that, because it can help you to have a more successful business. So I just want to share some client results with you, because I want to show you the fact that it doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you have a target market that is active on LinkedIn, then it can absolutely work for you. So I've got 4 separate client results here to show you very different types of businesses that are doing really well on LinkedIn. First one is Tracy. Tracy is a mindset coach, and she started on LinkedIn very, very recently, in February this year. And within 40 days, she had generated $17,500 by utilizing the events function. So she used the events function to promote her free masterclass. She then converted clients from there to the tune of $17,500. So not a bad return on investment for 40 days on LinkedIn. So just a good example of a coach who is using LinkedIn and using the events function to really, really rocket her success on there. Next example is Jack. Jack is a recruitment founder. He doubled his revenue in his business in 12 months using LinkedIn, and he now uses LinkedIn as his only lead source, which saves him loads of time, stress, and money as well. Gets loads more time playing cricket than he used to. Next example is Dorothy. Dorothy is one of my clients. She's a network marketer. She started from scratch on LinkedIn, and she has been able to build a very, very specific, engaged audience of health professionals who she's converting into team members. So one of the amazing things that we'll talk about with LinkedIn later on is how amazing the free search is that allows you to build an extremely specific audience. So it does mean that even with a tiny audience on LinkedIn, you can be really, really successful. Last example for you is Liz. Liz owns and runs a flexible working job board. She has used LinkedIn to build a movement. We've done mission-led marketing with Liz. She's gained 48,000 followers and connections in just a couple of years. And she also got a traditional publishing deal through Wiley. And Wiley actually came to her because of her LinkedIn brand presence, which is absolutely amazing. So 4 very different clients there in very different industries that have all leveraged LinkedIn to grow their business massively. And one of my favorite sayings, if it's possible for them, it is absolutely possible for you too. And I'm hoping that in today's presentation, I absolutely can show you that wherever you are right now, it's absolutely possible for you to use LinkedIn to grow your business. Okay, so today we'll be covering why LinkedIn is such a great platform for your business, the importance of your LinkedIn personal profile, and I'll be giving you some tips of exactly what we would do with our clients' profiles as well. Using the LinkedIn search filters to build a very specific audience, Sales Navigator and how it can supercharge your strategy, how to use LinkedIn data to your advantage, building authority with the tools that LinkedIn provides, the importance of engaging with your audience and not just posting and running. I'm going to give you a simple content strategy that you can follow. At the end, I'm going to give you those prize details, a special offer, and we'll do the Q&A and answer any questions that you have as well. Okay, so at this point, if you can just let me know if you can see and hear me okay, that would be amazing. So if someone could just let me know in the chat box that you can see the presentation okay and you can hear me. Amazing, thank you so much. So why is LinkedIn such a great platform for your business? I always start with this because I think it's really important, especially if you have been using other platforms, maybe like Facebook and Instagram. Sometimes LinkedIn can seem a little bit scary. It's a little bit more unknown. So I'm going to go through some of the things that I love about LinkedIn that make it amazing for your business. And some of them you'll know, but a lot of them you may not. So I'm just going to run through those. But if anyone has any questions, just let me know in the chat. So why is LinkedIn such a great platform for your business? Firstly, you can have 30,000 first connections. So if you think of Facebook friends, you can have 5,000 Facebook friends who are more likely to see your content. On LinkedIn, you can have 30,000 first connections. For those of you who haven't really used LinkedIn before, a first connection is like a friend on Facebook. But the difference with LinkedIn and other platforms is that you have first connections and you have second connections. So our first connections are people that we either invite or accept into our world. And our second connections are those people's connections. Now, the reason why this is important is because if we build a network of people who we are first connected to, and those people like, comment, share our content, then their network sees it. So with LinkedIn, you have kind of different layers of penetration, which means that you can actually gain clients, not just from your first connections, but from their connections as well, which can really, really speed up your strategy. And this is really important because we all tend to have networks of people like us. So if you're building a very specific curated network and they have a network of people like them, it can really, really maximize your results. And it's a really, really great thing that LinkedIn can do for you that isn't really available on other platforms. So I have about 30,000 first connections, and that gives me 1.5 million second connections, just to give you an idea, which is absolutely huge. So it really, really does help you to grow your audience size quickly. Another great thing about LinkedIn, everyone's on there to do business. There's no need to pretend otherwise. So for instance, I know one of the things that drives me mad about Facebook is when people drop into your inbox and they pretend to want to be your friend, and then they'll go in for the kill with a sales message. Now, everyone on LinkedIn is there for a purpose. They're there to do business. So while I do not advocate being a spammy pammy or hard selling, you are there to build relationships. Everyone's on there to do business, and you don't have to pretend that you're there for any other reason, which is an amazing thing for me about LinkedIn. LinkedIn provides amazing analytics and data so that you can track your progress. The level of data that LinkedIn provides you is absolutely phenomenal, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later on, but it does allow you to know how well you're doing and to see how well your strategy is working and make little tweaks all the time. So the LinkedIn data is absolutely phenomenal. So one of the things I'm going to recommend later is that you are using it and you're using it properly. One of my favorite things about LinkedIn, so if you've been in my world for a while, you'll know this because I'll have said this so many times, is that LinkedIn loves simple content and less is more. So if you're someone like me who isn't that creative, and maybe struggles a little bit with kind of the bells and whistles content of other platforms, then you will absolutely love LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is all about content. It's all about value and the value that you're providing. So LinkedIn loves really, really simple content, no bells and whistles, less is more when it comes to the platform. And actually, the optimal amount of times to post on LinkedIn with today's algorithm is actually 3 to 5 times a week. So if you are, again, like me, get stressed out with trying to feed the algorithm on other platforms, LinkedIn is going to be a welcome break for you while still giving you amazing results. Hey, you heard me talk about Michelle earlier, about Tracy earlier, and the results that she's had with the events function on LinkedIn. Now, the events function is an absolutely amazing free function on LinkedIn, which allows you to invite 1,000 people per week to your on and offline events. And you don't just invite anyone willy-nilly. You have little search filters, kind of industry, location, job title, etc. So that means that you can invite people to your events. They will get a notification. They will get to see the whole event post that you have done, and they will get the link to register for your event. But that's not even the best bit. In being able to invite 1,000 people per week isn't even the best bit. Once someone says that they're going to your event, so once they tick going, LinkedIn puts a badge on their profile advertising your event for you, which means that every other person that goes to that person's profile sees that that person is going to your event and can click through onto your event as well. So we talked a little while ago about the fact that people have networks of other people like them. So if you can get your event badge on one person's profile, lots of people like them are going to see it. So it brings other people that are not in your network to your events as well. And that's how Tracy managed to utilize that events function to make her $17,500 in just 40 days, because she was able to really, really maximize that. So if you are a coach or a content creator that runs masterclasses, free events, online, offline, paid events, work on the events function as well, then definitely you should be using that. It's really important to note that 36% of LinkedIn users are not active on any other social platform. So 36% of people that are utilizing LinkedIn on a regular basis are not on Facebook, they're not on Instagram, they're not on TikTok. Now, with 950 million plus users of LinkedIn, that 36% represents around 343 million people that you are missing out on if you are not active on LinkedIn, which is absolutely huge. Let's see some questions coming through. That's really cool. You didn't know about the events badge. Most people don't. It's one of those things that people who think when things are new, you don't tend to try them, do you? So you don't tend to find these things out. Lots of people not knowing about the events function. Liz, how to add an event. You go to the left bar on LinkedIn and you'll have different options, and one of them is events. So you go to event and create an event. Okay, another amazing thing that LinkedIn has is the LinkedIn Live and audio functions. Now, LinkedIn Live is quite like a Facebook Live. What happens is when you go live on LinkedIn, you do have to use a third-party app on LinkedIn like StreamYard in order to go live. But then every single person in your network gets a notification. So I've got 30,000 connections. If I went live, they get a notification. That notification will say, Lindsay Meredith is live. So it brings lots of people to my live stream. And when I have finished with my live, that notification on everyone's notifications automatically changes to Lindsay Meredith was live. So not only does LinkedIn bring lots of people to your live videos, it also brings lots of people to your replay as well, which is phenomenal. Now, LinkedIn Audio is something that has only been around for about 12 months. A lot of people don't know about it yet, but essentially it's a podcast. So it's an audio live that you can do on LinkedIn. So if you think of it as a podcast, only instead of putting your podcast on a platform and waiting for people to go and listen to it, when you go on LinkedIn Audio, it sends a notification to your audience, again, just like on LinkedIn Live. So if you are wanting to do a podcast and you're wanting to bring in a very specific audience, but your marketing budget is not big, i.e. you can't afford to do Facebook ads or things like that, you do it via LinkedIn and you've built a very, very, very specific curated audience, then you know that LinkedIn is pulling them in for you. So you're likely to get lots more listeners as well. So LinkedIn Audio is a function that is amazing and not a lot of people know it's there. The next thing that I want to talk to you about is the magic button on your content. So at this point, it's probably a good thing to say that LinkedIn has different levels of use. It has a free version, and then it has what they call LinkedIn Premium, and then it has what they call LinkedIn Sales Nav. Now, the fact that LinkedIn has paid parts of it specifically for sales and for you to make sales, i.e. it's called Sales Navigator, should tell you that LinkedIn knows that LinkedIn is good for making sales and LinkedIn is good for business. And they have taken advantage of that by having different levels of LinkedIn that you can actually purchase as a business owner on a monthly rolling basis. So we will talk about that a little bit later. But one of the things that I want to talk about right now is the magic button on your content. If you are a LinkedIn Premium user, and that's the first level of a business account on LinkedIn, it's not very expensive. I think it's about £48 a month with VAT. You get certain perks. And one of those perks is the fact that you can have a little button on all of your content. So if you're on LinkedIn and you see my content, it will have my name, it will have a little button that says visit my website, and then it will have my content. So that means that every single time a piece of my content goes out, every single person that sees that in the feed can click on that visit my website button, which means that every single post has a built-in call to action. It doesn't have to be a sales post, it can be any post, but it has that built-in call to action for people to visit your website. And I can tell you that after that button was first came out, it came out about 9 months ago, my website views have absolutely rocketed, and I have done nothing. I have done nothing other than tick a box to say that LinkedIn can put that on my content. So that's why I call it the magic button, because it's literal worth pure gold, and it brings people to your website or wherever you want it to take. You can have book an appointment on there if you do discovery calls, but it's literally bringing people into the next level of your funnel all the time for you. So it's an inbuilt call to action, which is absolutely amazing. As I said, business products like Sales Nav, they've been built to literally help you sell on LinkedIn. You can get a 4-week trial on any business platform. I would recommend Sales Navigator if you were going to have one. It's about £78 a month, including VAT. But if you were serious about utilizing LinkedIn to make sales, it will absolutely help you to do so. It has lots and lots and lots of functions, including a very, very detailed search filter function. It has a CRM built behind it, which helps you engage with your audience. I should say as well that every single person that views your profile, if you have a premium account of any type, LinkedIn tells you. So when we talk about data, one of the amazing things about LinkedIn data is you see how many people view your profile, and we know who they are. LinkedIn tells us who has viewed our profile so that we can follow those leads up as well. So if you get frustrated, as I do on other platforms where we can see how many people have viewed our content if we've got a business account, but actually we don't know who those people are, so we can't follow them up, LinkedIn tells you exactly who has visited your profile. And if someone has been interested enough to visit your profile, then they're a potential lead in my book. And I can tell you that 9 times out of 10, when I message those people who have looked at my profile, they will tell me why they visited, and that leads to a sales conversation. So again, LinkedIn is giving us the tools to move that person from cold to warm, and obviously take them maybe off the platform to a discovery call or wherever we want to take them. So LinkedIn is giving us all of the opportunities to do that as well. It just makes life easy. And I'm a lazy marketer. I like the tools to make my life easy, and LinkedIn gives us the tools to do it. Another amazing thing about LinkedIn is the opportunity to become a LinkedIn top community voice. So you may have seen a couple of slides ago, I talked about the fact that I've been recognized as a LinkedIn top voice, and I get a little shiny gold badge on my profile. Now, I was invited to become a LinkedIn top voice, and I had to do certain things in order to get that badge. However, since then, that was about 6 months ago when it first came out, I now have a strategy and have the tools so I can teach my clients how they can do that. Even if they are relatively new on the platform, I can teach them how to get a top community voice badge in their specific specialism. When it comes to your top community voice badge, you choose a specialism that is the most specific to the industry or the niche that you are in, and it is massive for credibility. Not a lot of people have them yet because not a lot of people know how to get them. But if you are up against someone else, or someone is looking at you and others in terms of wanting to work with you, and you have been recognized as a top community voice, they're more likely to want to work with you because you are more credible. You're being recognized for the content that you're putting out on LinkedIn. So there's a strategy behind it, but it's absolutely accessible for anyone. And the final point I want to make about why LinkedIn is such a great platform for your business is the fact that LinkedIn allows you to download data. So LinkedIn allows you to download your audience data and your platform data. So I'd recommend that you do this every 3 months because we do not own LinkedIn. Be amazing if we did, we'd be very, very rich, but we do not own any of the social platforms that we are active on. Therefore, we spend a lot of time and money building these things up, but our access could be taken away any day, touch wood. And sometimes that's through no fault of our own, for instance, if we get hacked, etc. So LinkedIn allows you to download data. It will depend, the level of data will depend upon the data protection box that your specific audience members have ticked, but it still will give you data so that you could start again if you needed to, rather than starting from scratch. So again, something that not a lot of people know is an option. It's in your settings, and I would absolutely be doing it on a regular basis as well. Just check in with the chat. Beverly, this fits in well with something you're planning as an audio program. Amazing. Julie, you wish you'd maximize the events function for your last event. Well, you can do it for the next one, so that's good. Tracy, you love the sound of LinkedIn audio as well. Amazing. Fantastic. Let's move on. Okay, so this is where I'm going to tell you, if I was brand new to the platform today, this is exactly what I would do. And we're going to go through it point by point, and you're going to go away with some actionable information that you can actually action into your LinkedIn strategy and into your business today. And as I said, yes, I've been on the platform for 14 years. I've already built my network. However, I use the strategies that I'm going to share with you with our LinkedIn management clients every single day, and they absolutely work and they will get you there faster. So I'm going to share those with you now. Ask any questions as we go along, and I'll also answer questions at the end as well. So first of all, have a strategy. I did not have a strategy when I first went onto LinkedIn. I did not have a strategy for who I was building in my audience. I did not have a strategy for content. I literally was just going on, popping a piece of content on there and hoping for the best. And obviously having a hope and a prayer is not a strategy. So first of all, before you do anything else on LinkedIn, I would have a strategy. You know, where does LinkedIn fit into your overall marketing and business plan? What gaps does it fill? And you need to be able to answer that question before spending time and potentially money on something new. Consistency on LinkedIn is absolutely key. You can't just pop up once in a while. You need to get on people's radar and stay on people's radar. So I also want you to think about how much time you have to give to it and when. So really, really put a plan together for your LinkedIn activity. Really importantly, who do you want to attract? LinkedIn gives us all the tools to build a very, very specific audience of specific people, which means that if our messaging is correct, we can convert that audience relatively quickly. And when you've only got an audience of very specific people, your messaging is much, much easier to put together. So I really want you to start thinking about who do you want to attract and why, and what transformation can you provide to them? Because the other thing that I want to say about LinkedIn is that you want to keep it simple. You want to make it really, really easy for people to get to know you and know how to buy from you. What do they need to know about you and your business in order to make a buying decision? And that is what your content strategy should be based on. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. So keeping it simple, but you want to make sure that you have a strategy. Second, and we're going to talk about this for a few minutes because it's really, really important. Your personal profile on LinkedIn is absolutely key to your strategy. The entire strategy that I teach sends people back to your personal profile for your personal profile to convert them. Therefore, your personal profile needs to be all singing and all dancing. It needs to be eye-catching. It needs to tell people exactly who you are, what you do, what you can do specifically for them, how good you are at it, what action you need them to take next. And LinkedIn gives us all the tools on your personal profile to do this, but a lot of people are not utilizing them. So when done properly, your personal profile will convert your clients for you. So the key profile parts that I want you to focus on, and again, don't worry, we're going to run through this quite quickly, but you will be able to get this back on the replay as well, are your banner, which is your banner at the top. And again, it's really important because if you're a little bit older like me and you remember when websites came out, you'll know that it was really important. The term was above the fold. It was really important that the above the fold section, i.e. before you had to scroll down, was interesting enough that people wanted to scroll down and read the rest of it on your homepage. So if you think of LinkedIn as your business homepage, it needs to be interesting enough that it makes people want to scroll down and learn more about you. So your banner is really important. What we call your headline, which is the line of text underneath your name, your About Us section, which is a free text section on your profile, which you can essentially use as a little bit of a sales page to make it simple to buy from you. Other important parts of your profile, we're going to go through all this in detail in a minute, so don't worry, are your featured section, which a lot of people don't even have, your work history, and your recommendation section. And the rest of your strategy will then be to send people to your profile and have your profile do the hard work for you. To get into a little bit more detail on your personal profile, I want you to think of your LinkedIn profile as your own personal website. And when I tell you that in 14 years of business, for 11 of those years, I didn't even have a website because my LinkedIn personal profile just converted everyone for me, that should show you the power of this. I've been in business for 11 years before I even had a website. I always intended to have one, but I didn't need one because my personal profile was so good. I just sent everyone to it because it converted everyone for me. And the data capture, the fact that I could see everyone that had visited it so I could follow it up, made my life so easy. So you want to drive as many of your ideal clients and clients there as possible. If you're a recruiter, it might be candidates. If you're a network marketer, it might be team members. And then you let your profile do the rest. So just some tips now for turning your profile into a lead generating sales page. First one is a strong headline. So for those of you not familiar with the headline, that is a line of text underneath your name. And you can, I think it's about 130 characters you can have in there. You can have slightly more if you do it on the LinkedIn app, which is a little bit of a quirk that never seems to get fixed. And you want to pay particular attention to the first 5 or 6 words of your headline. Because when you send a connection request to an ideal client, all they see is your profile picture, your name, and the first 5, maybe 7, depending on how long the words are, words of your headline. So they need to be massively impactful because people will decide whether to accept your connection request and come into your world based upon the strength of your headline alone. So it may seem unimportant, but it is massively, massively important. And you do not want to put anything in there that is going to potentially put off ideal customers from connecting with you before they get to know you. Your About Us section. Now, I mentioned earlier that your About Us section is a free text section, and some people don't even have one because they don't realize it exists. So if you are thinking, I've got no clue what you're talking about, you probably haven't got one yet. So there will be a little button that says Add About Us section on your profile, and you click that button, and then you'll get a text box that you can put free writing in. Now, what you want to do here is you want to speak directly to your ideal client. So you want to write it for the people that are coming to your profile. You want to think of this as your landing page. So if someone has been interested enough to come to you, they read your About Us section and it speaks directly to them. It speaks to their problems and the transformation that you can provide. And then it showcases you as the vehicle. So it doesn't want to be all about you and how amazing you are, because actually, it's not about you, it's about them. It's about what it is that they're going through, what it is that they have a problem or a challenge with that you can get them to the other side of, and you are the vehicle to do that. So I would recommend that you start with some questions to qualify your audience, you speak to their problems or challenges, and then the last section of your About Us section should be how you can uniquely solve them, as the vehicle to being the person that can get them from where they are now to where they want to be. And you want to have a call to action. You want to tell them how they can buy from you. You want to tell them what you want them to do next. And again, this is something that a lot of people miss. But if people are interested enough in you and you tell them what to do next, they will do it. So that might be you want them to book a discovery call and you give them a link. It might be you want them to drop into your DMs. It might be that you want to send them somewhere else. Again, with a call to action on LinkedIn, you have a big blue message button on LinkedIn. Use it. Keep it as simple as possible. People tend to lose interest if you make your sales strategy complicated. You want to look for people who actually, they've come to your profile, they're interested in you. They may not have time to fill in a big old form right now. We don't want to lose them. So keep it really, really simple. So I would recommend, if you're just starting out with a strategy, I'd have them sending you a DM, and then you can organize to either book a Zoom or a discovery call or whatever it is, or you send them a link, but you'll know who they are, therefore you can follow them up. So that's quite important. Keep your call to action really, really simple so you don't lose people. The best part of your featured section, the best part of your personal profile, other than your about us section, is your featured section. And again, a lot of people don't even have a featured section on their profile because they didn't realize it was an option. But if you go to my profile, I'll share my LinkedIn handle with you later on. You can see that I have a whole section on my profile, and it's carefully curated, and it's different posts, and it's carefully curated for a reason, because I want people who are absolutely cold, who don't know me yet, to go to my LinkedIn profile, to go through that featured section. And the idea of that featured section is it will take people who are absolutely cold and turn them into warm potential buyers by the end of that. So you want to have a strategy for your featured section. You want to take them from someone who knows nothing about you to someone who knows a lot about you and sees you as someone that can help them. So what I would recommend putting in your featured section are things like a video, a welcome video, a 30-second welcome video of you welcoming them to your profile. And again, that's quite important because we don't want people to feel as if they are a lead, as if they are a prospect. LinkedIn is a business networking site. We want to go human to human. So the more human you can make it, the more you can showcase the person behind the profile, the better. So a 30-second welcome video of you welcoming them into your world is really, really good for your strategy, because they will feel as if they have met you in real life. So if you are thinking, no, Lindsay, video is not for me, you do not have to have a video to have a successful strategy, but it is something that I would recommend. I would also take them on a journey. So they don't know you yet. I'd share your personal journey. I'd share your business story and how you came to be doing what you're doing now, what your why is. I'd share your unique selling points and what is unique about you and your business compared to your potential competitors. And I'd also have some credibility in there as well. So things like either awards you have won, or I've got some influencer lists on there, or things like testimonials when people have said something nice about you. So really think about that featured section and taking them on that customer journey from absolutely cold to boiling hot, and what you need to put in there for your specific audience to take them on that journey. So if you have not really thought about what your customer journey is right now, that's something that I would absolutely be thinking about, and I would be carefully curating that on your featured section as well. Testimonials are absolutely key. So if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you will find something like 85 testimonials. It's not the number that's important, because if you're starting out from 0 today, you're not suddenly going to get 85 LinkedIn testimonials. What's really good about a LinkedIn testimonial or recommendation is that when someone leaves you a recommendation, not only can the person who comes to your profile read that recommendation, they can also click on that person who's giving the recommendation and check them out. So everything on LinkedIn is linked together. Everything is very clickable. So one of the great things about getting recommendations from people on LinkedIn is, number one, it's great for credibility. Number two, it's like an Amazon review that has been verified. People can literally click through and see that you're helping people like them get results like what they're looking for right now, and those people have left you that recommendation. So if you haven't got any LinkedIn recommendations right now, or for quite a lot of people, if they've used LinkedIn in a corporate role, maybe they're really old, then I would absolutely recommend sending out some recommendation requests and getting some more up-to-date recommendations on your profile. And the example I always give here is the TripAdvisor example. If you were going to book a holiday and you picked a resort, but you had to choose between 2 hotels. One hotel has lots of great recommendations, 5 stars, and one of them looks amazing, but either has very few or no reviews. Which hotel are you more likely to go with? You're more likely to go with the one that's got more reviews, just because it seems like a safer bet. It seems like less of a risk than the other one, even if the other one could potentially be better. So if you are struggling to see how the recommendation section could work for you, just put yourself in that place. When was the last time you bought something because of the recommendations. And if you were choosing between two things, from a sales psychology point of view, which one would you be more likely to choose? One that has loads of great recommendations from people like you, or one that has very few or none, or maybe they're really out of date? So testimonials, recommendations are absolutely key to your profile as well. If you're just starting out, you're not going to have any, but just make it a priority. Every time you work with a new client, once you have delivered what you were delivering, ask for that recommendation while they're still in the happy glow of what you've done for them. Ellen, can you put something on the feature section without it being on your feed? No. A lot of people ask this, especially when it comes to things like videos, etc. But you do have to, you can manually put in things like testimonials from your recommendation section. But in order to feature things like your business story, your content, etc., you do have to put that in the feed first. You then click the three little dots in the right-hand corner and you press add to featured. And I would throw that back at you if you're thinking, oh, I'll happily post a video on my profile, but I don't want to put it in the feed. Because actually, if you're only building an audience of the right people, you shouldn't really care who sees it. You want as many people to see it as possible. A big visibility block that I find with people that come onto LinkedIn for their business is that they have an old profile from their corporate job and they don't want their old, maybe business friends to see their stuff. What I would say is that's a common visibility block for LinkedIn. 9 times out of 10, when people do start posting, they actually find that their old work colleagues support them. If it's something that's really, really, really going to hold you back, then I would think about actually who's already in my audience that shouldn't be. But in most cases, it's usually a visibility block that you need to overcome rather than anything else. So audience building. If I was starting on LinkedIn from scratch today, I would get very, very specific about building my audience. Now, LinkedIn gives us all of the tools to do this. So I would get really, really clear on who my ideal client or customer is. And I would look to specifically build an audience of ideal clients and customers, because again, that makes your messaging so easy. And you also know that when you put your messaging out, however many impressions you have, every one of those impressions is an ideal client. And that can make things really simple. And even if you were starting out from scratch, that can make a really effective strategy straight away. So other people you might want to invite into your world might be potential referrers or people who will give you access to their ideal audience. So potential ideal referrer would be someone who works with a similar ideal client to you, but has a non-competing service, so you can potentially take advantage of each other's audience. Now, a question a lot of people ask here is, if you have an old audience from maybe a corporate job, should you keep it or should you start from scratch? There is no right answer to this. If you have an old audience from a corporate job, it will give you a bigger second connected audience. And when you go to do your searches, you will get more of the right people in your searches if you have an existing audience. So there is a definite plus to keeping those people. So I would say if you are nowhere near your 30,000 connection limit and you already have a small audience that maybe you've developed in a corporate job, even if they're the wrong people, they will give you access to the right people because they will potentially be connected to ideal clients for you in the search. So it is a personal choice, but there are pros to keeping that audience. But just from today, start building out an audience of the right people. And LinkedIn is really intuitive. When you teach it what you want to see and who you want to connect with, it will suggest more of the same. So even if you have an old audience from an old corporate job, it can give you access to a bigger selection of the right people. And if you teach LinkedIn to do the right things, you won't see the wrong things in your feed either, but it is absolutely, definitely a personal choice. Julie, would you go through your audience and get rid of non-ideal clients? Hopefully we've answered that. Susie, will you share your recommendations for cold messages to build out that audience? I don't do that in this, but I do that in my LinkedIn Launchpad program, purely for the fact that we don't have enough time today. And I tend to get so excited about these things that I always run over anyway. But if we've got time at the end, I can answer some questions on that, absolutely. Okay, so number one, I'd be very specific. Who do I want to invite into my world and why? And again, LinkedIn allows you to either send a connection request or accept one. So you can be very specific about who you invite into your world and who you accept into your world. The other thing that I would do if I was starting out from scratch on LinkedIn today is I would sign up for SalesNav or get a 4-week trial for SalesNav. And this is something that we have as a prerequisite for all our LinkedIn management clients, because it is just that good that it will help you to rocket your strategy from day one. So if you haven't got a big budget, we don't need a big budget, it's £78 a month, but if you haven't got a budget, I would get a 4-week trial. You can have a 4-week trial on any business premium product if you have not had one within the last 6 months. And because LinkedIn is so intuitive, even if you only have a 4-week trial, it will help you to move your strategy on further and help to teach LinkedIn the things that you want to teach it. Most people fall in love with SalesNav and they don't want to do without it afterwards. That's a personal choice. But absolutely, if I was starting out from scratch today and I knew that that product existed, I would absolutely be getting it. You can have a 4-week trial, but it's also, you can have a rolling monthly contract as well. You don't have to tie yourself into anything long-term either. And it can help you to get results faster because it's been built for you to do business and it's been built for you to make sales. Tracy's just started the 4-week SalesNav trial. Amazing. If you are looking to do a 4-week trial, just be mindful of when you do it and make sure that you start it and book it into your diary at a time when you're going to get serious about it. Because the worst thing you want to do is waste that trial and then realize it's great for your business when you're coming towards the end of the trial if you're not looking to keep it on. The other thing that I would do in terms of audience building is I would join groups. So groups on LinkedIn are not brilliant. In general, I would not recommend groups. I would not recommend that you start your own group because the notifications for groups on LinkedIn are not good. They do not encourage community like, say, a Facebook group. However, in terms of building my audience and finding the right people, I would join my maximum amount of groups, which I think is 50. You can use the search filter at the top of the space bar on LinkedIn to find very specific groups where your clients are going to be hanging out. And again, don't think about the groups that you would join. Think about the groups that your ideal clients would join, and those are the ones that you want to join. And the reason that I would join those groups is because they will bring more people into your audience. So when we do searches on LinkedIn, we can search to connect with people that we are second connected to, but we can also tick a box that says group connected on SalesNav, for instance. So my client, Dorothy, who we talked about earlier, who was the network marketer, wanted to build an audience with very specific health professionals. And she started with midwives. And actually, one of the ways that she really got in touch with a lot of those midwives was joining midwife groups. She could then tick the box to add group connections into her searches, and that automatically brought lots of midwives into her searches that would not have come up in her searches had she not joined those groups. So absolutely go and look for groups that your ideal clients will have joined, and those are the groups you want to join. You can also use hashtags on LinkedIn as well. Hashtags on LinkedIn do not work the way that hashtags on Facebook and Instagram work. They're all dependent upon who is following that hashtag. So if you're relatively new to LinkedIn, you will have been asked to follow hashtags, or when they were invented on LinkedIn, people who were already on the platform will have been asked to follow a certain number of hashtags. The only reason to use hashtags on your content on LinkedIn is to bring people to your content who would not otherwise see it, i.e. people that you are not connected to and not in your second connected network. So you want to be quite specific about looking for hashtags that have a certain amount of followers, because if not, you're wasting time and not doing yourself any favors. So either don't use any or look for some, again, that your ideal client will be following. It's not necessarily the ones that you would automatically follow on other platforms. It's the ones that your ideal client will be following. So you're going to want to do some research into that as well. If you place a hashtag in the search bar at the top of LinkedIn and press enter, you'll be able to then pick that up and see how many people are following that specific hashtag. And then I would say pick 3. 3 to 10 is what I would usually say. 3 is absolutely enough for most people. That will work for you, specifically for your business, but don't worry too much about them because they don't work how they do on other platforms. The other thing that I would say about audience building is LinkedIn allows you to invite a certain amount of people into your audience every week. It's slightly different for everyone, dependent upon your connection to acceptance rate and how many outstanding invitations you have. But general rule of thumb is about 100 per week. So absolutely use them. If you do not use your LinkedIn invitations to build your audience, you lose them. So make sure that you have it in your diary to be sending out this connection request to those 100 around 100 people every week, just to make sure that you're consistently building your audience. Don't wait for people to send you a connection request, because it will mean that your audience building is very, very slow and it's not going to be specific. Make sure that you are consistently inviting the right people into your world, and you will build your audience relatively quickly. Okay, moving on. Number 4, engage with your audience. Actually speak to them. So I want you to think of the people on LinkedIn and your connections as people rather than profiles. You know, they are living, breathing human people with all sorts going on in their business, outside, in their work, outside of work, etc. as well. So treat your new connections just how you would in real life. And one of the things that I would say is send a thank you for connecting message. The amount of people that will bring loads of connections into their world and never speak to them again, they just expect them to see their content, and actually politely sending a thank you for connecting message, asking them a question. Number 1, it's polite and it shows them that you are a real person. But number 2, if someone has accepted your connection request but has not yet looked at your profile, if you send them a thank you for connecting message, 9 times out of 10, they will go to your profile to remind themselves of who you are. And if you have followed the profile strategy, and if you have an all singing, all dancing, amazing profile, then your profile will help to convert them if they're ready. So we want to send as many people back to your profile as possible. And one of the ways we can do that is with a thank you for connecting message. Always try and ask an open question on the end to encourage conversation, but do not go in with the kill for sales, because LinkedIn saves all previous messages. So if you go really spammy, pammy, and really salesy, and then you change your strategy, next time you go to send that person a message, they'll be able to see your previous message. So yeah, first impressions count. So make sure you are treating people just how you would if you saw them in real life. You also want to be actively engaging with other people's content as well, actively liking and commenting on other people's stuff. So don't just post and run, spend time on the platform, engaging with people, getting to know people. And people will do the same for you. So if you are engaging, if you are liking and commenting on people's stuff, more likely, number 1, they're going to get shown your post because the algorithm will show it to them. And number 2, they're going to recognize your name. And number 3, they're going to want to engage with your stuff as well to return the favor. Number 5, consistent content. This is definitely something that I didn't used to do, that if I was starting out on LinkedIn, again, I would absolutely be posting consistent content. Now, again, one of the things that I love most about LinkedIn is you do not have to post as often as on other platforms. You do not have to feed the algorithm that way. The LinkedIn algorithm actually changed a little while ago, and it meant that less is more, because LinkedIn continues to post our content, to put our content out to our feed for longer than normal. So those of you who have been on LinkedIn for a while will have noticed the way that LinkedIn reports impressions changed, and that's because LinkedIn continues to push out your content for longer. So you'll still see in your reports that your content is getting impressions days and sometimes weeks after you've put it out. So what you don't want to do is overpost. I would suggest 3 to 5 times a week on LinkedIn is absolutely enough for a successful strategy. Now, years ago, I would have suggested 2 times a day, morning and afternoon, with at least 4 hours in between. But nowadays, 3 to 5 is absolutely enough. If you overpost and you post content that is too close to another piece of content, LinkedIn will stop pushing that one out to push the next one out. So you can actually hinder your impressions and hinder your content. So you're better putting out quality content 3 to 5 times a week than you are over posting and posting out too much content. Helen, do you think the time you post makes a difference to impressions? It absolutely does, because you want to post when you know that more of your ideal clients are likely to be captive on the platform. Now, for most people, that will be between 8 and 10 in the morning, when people are first logging on, having the breakfast, having the cup of tea, etc., and 12 and 2 in the afternoon, when people are having their lunch and they're scrolling. But it might be different depending upon your ideal target market. So, for instance, if you work with people who have billable hours, like solicitors, it may be that actually in the day isn't a great time. So you might want to look early morning, or you want to look evening. If you are working with people in a different time zone, so for instance, quite a few of my clients are in the US, I want to make sure that I'm putting out content at a time when they're going to see it in their feed as well. So you just want to have a little bit of a strategy around, okay, I'm putting this amazing content out. When do I want people to see it? Now, LinkedIn will continue to push it out, so you don't have to worry about that. However, you want to think about you're feeding the algorithm to begin with. So the more people that see it to begin with, the more potential engagement you get, the more people LinkedIn will push it out to. So I would think about when you are putting it out. If you cannot be on the platform at that point, someone's just asked about the scheduler, you can use the inbuilt LinkedIn scheduler. There is an inbuilt LinkedIn scheduler. If you go to the post button and click on the clock, you can schedule your content ahead of time. So native is best, and native means posting it in real time. That will get the most impressions. Scheduler is second. Third-party schedulers, i.e. posting content to multiple platforms at the same time, go against the LinkedIn algorithm and you will not get as many impressions, because LinkedIn has their own scheduler and they want you to use their own scheduler because they want you to be on the platform. So you'll notice when it comes to the algorithm, we'll talk about it later on, a lot of the things LinkedIn penalizes you for, things like automation or third-party stuff, is because they want you to be on the platform, because the more people are on the platform, the more engaged the platform is, the more real conversations people are having. If everyone posts stuff from outside of the platform, then actually that's not good for anyone and it's not good for the platform as a whole. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Okay, so 3 to 5 times a week. You can schedule your posts, but use the LinkedIn scheduler. Don't use third-party schedulers. As I said earlier, keep it simple. Really think about, what do people need to know about you in order to make a buying decision? And there's no need for bells and whistles content on LinkedIn. So if you are one of those people that keep seeing those trainings to make loads of reels for Facebook and you're like, oh, that's just not me, that's brilliant, because you don't have to do stuff like that on LinkedIn. So with LinkedIn likes quality content. It loves written posts. It loves added value. You don't have to be doing the bells and whistles stuff, and you really don't need to. So for someone like me, who I said earlier is a lazy marketer, that works absolutely perfectly. Okay, so simple content strategy. And again, I'm going to send you a replay, so don't worry about making loads of notes, but I'm just going to take you through a simple content strategy of, and again, it's all based around what does an ideal client need to know in order to make a buying decision with your business? So simple content strategy, you want to talk about you and your business, but you want to take them behind the scenes a little bit. And you can do that via telling stories. You know, what is your mission? What's your personal story? How did you actually get from where you were to where you are today to be actually delivering the thing that you're selling? What is your business or your brand story? What's the story behind it? And again, when we tell people a story, we take them on a journey and they have that deeper level of resonance with us. Who do you help and what outcomes do you provide for them? And what makes you different to your competitors? What makes you uniquely the best person to get them the transformation that they're looking for? Evidence-based content works absolutely amazingly on LinkedIn. So things like success stories. And again, a success story is taking people on a journey. It's first paragraph telling people where that person was before they worked with you, middle paragraph telling people what you did, and third paragraph telling people the outcome, so that people can read that story. And if they're in the same position that that person was at the beginning of their journey, they can see themselves in it and they get that extra level of resonance. And again, sharing testimonials, etc. from your clients. Any sort of feedback is good feedback as well. Another thing that you can post on LinkedIn is thought leadership, sharing your opinions, your experiences on your particular industry or niche, and asking, and again, you don't have to go full on, you know, separating people who agree with you or don't agree with you. You can very well talk about something, give your take on it, and then ask people for their opinions. And the more you ask questions at the end of a post, the more content you're going to get as well. But you don't have to be a thought leader. You don't have to go straight in with thought leadership content, especially if you're not feeling that confident, because maybe your business is a little bit newer or you're newer to the platform. So you can also be the reporter. And what I mean by being the reporter is that you can curate interesting information around your niche that your audience will be interested in. Something that you've read, a podcast that you've listened to, something that you have seen that you can then share with your audience to add value to them as well. Okay. Sales posts work really well on LinkedIn. And again, you do want to have a sales post, but you don't want to have every post be sales posts. But it's important that you let people know how they can buy from you. You can also use carousels on LinkedIn. So we talked about no bells and whistles content, but carousels, I would say, are the exception because they work brilliantly for a sales post. However, you upload carousels differently on LinkedIn than you do on other platforms. So you need to save it on Canva as a PDF. and you need to upload it as a PDF. And that is where you'll get the nice arrows working on LinkedIn. And again, I'd use a carousel to make it easy for people to see how they can buy from you. You want to use value added posts. So anything like advice, tips and tricks, how-tos, anything that people can implement a little bit into their business to prove your value. So any little things that perhaps you give away to people every day for free, maybe on a discovery call, maybe in a masterclass, maybe whatever you do for your specific audience, you can share that in content form as well. And again, we want to keep it personal. We're dealing with real people, not profiles. So personal posts that allow people to get to know the person behind the profile are really important. So really think about what is it that you're comfortable sharing about you outside of work, and what is it potentially that you have in common outside of work with the people that you're looking to attract that you can talk about and kind of build that bridge of resonance with them as well. Now, LinkedIn loves a poll. Polls work brilliantly on LinkedIn. So, but you want to really think about putting out a poll that is going to give you and your audience interesting information, because a LinkedIn poll, when you answer it, will tell you how everyone else has voted. So a lot of people will vote in a LinkedIn poll purely to see how everyone else has voted. It doesn't give names, it just gives percentages. But again, you then want to follow up that poll with a post about the insights. So you can survey your audience amazingly on LinkedIn in the feed. So LinkedIn polls are really, really good. Okay, I'm going to come back to a couple of those questions at the end because they're not necessarily the same as some of the stuff that we're going through. So I'll come back to all of those at the end, so do not worry. Okay, continue with our simple content strategy. Behind the scenes, you want to share people what's going on behind the scenes of your world. And you can do that by what I call weekly roundups. So you think of it as a fly on the wall. People love fly on the wall documentaries. We're all inherently nosy. So you want to tell people what you've been up to, but you want to do it in a way that plants subliminal seeds. So you want to talk about what types of clients you've been working with, what sorts of things you've been delivering, what sort of results you've been getting. So again, it's not a sales post, but you're planting those subliminal seeds so that the people that are actually reading your posts are learning more about you and seeing that you're good at what you do. So anything behind the scenes is absolutely amazing. LinkedIn loves video. Again, you don't have to do video to have a successful strategy, but the option is there. So if you're going to do video, I would suggest a video series. Videos are between 30 to 60 seconds at work best, and LinkedIn will automatically add subtitles for you, so you don't need to worry about that. When it comes to content, as we've already talked about already, and we'll talk about in a moment, you want to work with the LinkedIn algorithm in order to boost your impressions and get more of the right eyes on your content, and it will get your strategy working for you faster. And don't overpost. Less is absolutely more on LinkedIn. So just a quick rundown on the LinkedIn algorithm, just some things that LinkedIn likes, the algorithm likes. LinkedIn algorithm loves a text post. So if you're sick of putting an image on every post over on other platforms, LinkedIn absolutely loves a text post. I'm not saying don't put your picture on things, because pictures of real people work well as well, but make it personal. LinkedIn loves comments and engagement. So think about how you are inviting people to engage with your content on your posts. LinkedIn loves pictures of you, your team, real people. So make sure that you are recognizable, and LinkedIn loves those types of images. We'll talk about the types of images LinkedIn doesn't like in a moment. LinkedIn loves a post with a high dwell time. So if your post is interesting enough that someone spends time on it, then LinkedIn will show it to more people. So that's why a carousel works quite well for a sales post or a written post, because people spend more time reading it. Something that I've left off here as well is LinkedIn loves having the see more button clicked. So you want to think about your opening lines on your post, and they need to be interesting enough to get people to click the see more button. The more people that click the see more button, the more LinkedIn sees your content is interesting, and the more people it's going to show it to. LinkedIn loves a poll, and LinkedIn loves a poll more than anything else, and we'll give it loads of impressions if it's an interesting poll and gets people answering it. Relevant hashtags between 3 and 10. If you're unsure, leave them off. Loves time between posts. If you are an overposter, leave at least 4 hours between, but you're better leaving a day. And LinkedIn loves video. LinkedIn doesn't like shares. It gives you a share button, but if you share a piece of content on LinkedIn, it doesn't show it to anyone. So you are better off copying and pasting and tagging in the person that you're going to share the content from. As I said, doesn't like overposting. LinkedIn does not like clip art. So if you're putting we're so clip art, I'm showing my age there, aren't I? So LinkedIn doesn't like a picture that's there for picture's sake, that isn't of real people. So if you're going to be putting out an image, really think about why, because sometimes actually that can stop LinkedIn from pushing it out to as many people, and you'll actually get less eyes on your post. LinkedIn doesn't like business page content. It always prioritizes your personal profile. So everything we've been talking about today is about your personal profile. We haven't got time to go into business pages today. I would still have one, and there is a strategy behind one, but always prioritize your personal profile, because LinkedIn is 40 times more likely to show the content on a personal profile than a business one in the feed. LinkedIn does not like links that take you away from LinkedIn. So if you're putting links in your posts and you're not getting a lot of impressions, test putting links in the comments and asking people to head to the comments instead, and your impressions will go up. And LinkedIn does not like it when you tag people who don't respond. There is definitely a reason why you would want to tag people. Say they've given you a testimonial, for instance. Because if we tag someone and say thank you, they're very likely to go and engage with that post. However, don't go tagging a load of people that aren't going to respond, because that will then actually drag your post down rather than raise it up. Okay. The last thing, we're nearly there. One of the last things that I would say in terms of if I was starting out on LinkedIn today is that you need to be utilizing the tools that LinkedIn provides for you. You know, they are all there. Absolutely use them, and you will have a very, very successful strategy. And again, you don't have to use them, but if you want to have as successful a strategy as possible, I would absolutely look at using as many of these as you can. As I said earlier, you've got LinkedIn Live and audio, and we can make the most of those notifications to your audience. We've got the events section where you can invite up to 1,000 people per week to events, which is phenomenal. You've got the opportunity to build your credibility by becoming a top community voice. And you've got those business products like Premium and Sales Nav. And LinkedIn knows that you are here to do business, and LinkedIn actually is going to help you make sales by utilizing those programs, and that they have literally built for you to sell on LinkedIn. So absolutely take advantage of those as well. Okay, data and analytics. LinkedIn gives you content data. It tells you how many impressions you've got, and then it breaks it down into things like industry, location, job title. Use the data to inform your content plan and to see what is working and what isn't, and making sure you are getting your stuff in front of the right people. LinkedIn also has a data section on your personal profile. You can see things like how many people have viewed your profile, and if you've got Premium, you can see exactly who those people are, so you can follow them up. You can see what your top posts are, how many things have got the most impressions. You can see how many searches you've appeared in, i.e. how many people have searched for what you do that week and you have come up in that list. As I said, with Premium, you can see who's viewed your profile, and everyone who visits your profile is a potential lead. So make sure that if you are seeing them, you are following them up as well. Okay, so at the end of our content for today, we're nearly up to prize time. But if you are looking to get serious about your LinkedIn strategy, if you are looking for support and help, and you want the exact blueprint to LinkedIn success that we actually use for our clients, I would love to invite you to join me on the LinkedIn Launchpad. LinkedIn Launchpad is my signature program. It is literally a portal of steps that you need to take to build out a very successful LinkedIn strategy. And it used to be an 8-week course, but we've just repackaged it. So you now actually get 12 months of support. And that was important to me, because some people were coming towards the end of the 8-week course, and because life or work and business had intervened, they weren't quite where they needed to be yet to be let loose on their own. So that was why it was important to me to add that 12-month support in. So you now get 12-month support in a Facebook group. And what that looks like is you can get audits in there, you can share your work, you can ask questions in real time. We also have live Q&As in there as well. And I also am creating masterclasses for anything that isn't already in the portal that you have a question on. So if you were to come to me and say, Lindsay, I've got this thing coming up and I want to do this, can you do a masterclass about how to do this thing? That's where the top community voice one came from. Absolutely. We'll be adding content in there all the time. So anyone that joins the LinkedIn Launchpad, you get lifetime access to the content, and you get 12 months of support as well. And that is directly with me in the Facebook group. Anyone who pays in full, we've got a special offer running today, which is 25% discount. You also get a one-to-one with me to plan your LinkedIn strategy. And there are also 6 and 12-month payment plans as well. So if you were serious about getting serious about LinkedIn, You want all the steps that you can follow to make it really simple and easy. You want those 12 months of support so you can get all your questions answered in real time. You can get your profile audited. If a piece of content doesn't work, you can ask why that might be. You can share your content and get critique. Anything to do with LinkedIn, you can ask and get support on in that Facebook group. So that offer is absolutely there for you. It is on 25% discount for the next 48 hours. And when we do the Q&A, I will post the link in the comments as well. But I would absolutely love you to join me so that I can help you all get as successful on LinkedIn as possible. Pop the LinkedIn on there, but I'm going to put it in the comments because it'll make it a little bit easier for you. Just to show you different types of people that have had success on LinkedIn. These are just some of my clients. And again, these are testimonials that they've given me on LinkedIn. So that's why I put these on here, so that it gives you a real-time view of what testimonials look like. So this is Anita. She is a recruitment founder, and she's been successful in her strategy. This is Jack, who we talked about earlier. This is Laura Lee, who is a coach. Joe, who again is a coach and also has a network marketing business as well. So lots of different types of businesses. I think hundreds of industries that we've helped now. If your ideal client is on LinkedIn, if you follow the strategy and you are consistent, it will absolutely work for you. And we obviously have the 12 months of support available for you as well. The prize. So I'm going to put the LinkedIn, the LinkedIn Launchpad link in the chat in a moment. But I just want to talk about the prize with you that I mentioned at the beginning. I always really appreciate it when people show up live to these things rather than just watching the replay. So if you are on live or if you watch the replay within the first 48 hours, I have a potential prize for you. And that is a done for you personal profile and content strategy package worth £749 plus VAT. So this means that we have 2 one-to-ones together. I put together your profile strategy and I write your about us section for you. And I tell you exactly what you need to put in your featured section and how to create it. I also put a content strategy for your specific business together in a PDF and share that with you as well. So it's an amazing package. It's worth £749 plus VAT, but actually it's probably worth a hell of a lot more than that. But that's the price we put on it. So to be in with a chance of winning that prize, what I would love you to do is share the love. I want you to share, I want to get this masterclass out far and wide with as many people as possible so it can help as many people as possible have a successful LinkedIn strategy. So 4 things you need to do in order to win this prize. Just leave it on in case you want to take a picture or write it down. Firstly, I would love you to write a review of this masterclass. If you have found it useful, I'd love you to go onto your social, say onto your Facebook and write a review. Post it on your Facebook page. Tag me into your post. If we are not already friends, we probably will be, a lot of us, but if we're not already Facebook friends, add me as a friend and then you can tag me. And all I want you to do is give your review of the masterclass, tag me in it, and then I'm going to do a prize draw on Monday the 20th, which is when the LinkedIn Launchpad portal will open for everyone that joins. And I want you to just make sure you've done it by then. And then we're going to put everyone's names in a hat, pull one out, and that is the person that will receive that package. Every review that you leave and tag me in on any platform, so that might be LinkedIn if you are already on LinkedIn. Facebook would be amazing because a lot of people on Facebook don't realize how amazing LinkedIn is yet, or Instagram. I'll pop all my links on an email to you with the replay later. Every time you post a review and tag me in on any platform, you get an entry in to win that prize. And having me write your about section is worth the £749 alone, because I know exactly what to write to have your clients hitting that DM button. So that is the prize on offer, and I'm very excited to be working with the person who wins that. Okay, so it is question time. So anyone has a question, pop it in the chat for me. I'm just also going to pop the Launchpad link, so you can get that 25% discount, and you can either do your pay in full, your 6-month and your 12-month payment plans. I'm going to pop that in the chat for you. And then I'm going to go through. If you want the payment plans, by the way, scroll right down to the bottom, you'll be able to see all the payment plans. I'm just going to scroll through the questions, see anything that I have missed. Rocky, is the £749 plus VAT the actual price or the price with 25% discount? If you mean the price of the LinkedIn Launchpad, that might be confusing because the price is the same price as the LinkedIn Launchpad Pay in Full. The normal LinkedIn Launchpad is $997 plus VAT. It's 25% off for the next 48 hours for people that are watching the masterclass. So the $749 plus VAT Pay in Full is the 25% discounted price, and that goes up to $997. After that, that's the normal price. So hopefully that has answered your question, but let me know if I haven't. Okay, pop your questions in the chat box. I'm just going to go through the ones that we've not answered yet. Janine, would you post a testimonial as a photo or in the post or both? There's lots of different ways to post a testimonial. I would get in the habit of screenshotting any feedback that you get, whether it's a formal testimonial, whether it is a WhatsApp, whether it's an email, and you can use those and you can post those in your content. You can also literally quote what they have said in a text post because you get lots of impressions on those. You could write a story about that person, and if that person has given you their permission, you could tag them in and maybe put their photo with it, but again, you need their permission to do that. So there are absolutely loads of ways of sharing feedback on LinkedIn. Jane, you're trying to upload a photo for your About Us section, but it keeps failing. You can't load photos into your About Us section, so that might be why. You can load photos into your featured section. So it probably is just that you're trying to put it in the wrong section. But you can absolutely put photos in your featured section, but you would need to put some text with it. You can't upload a photo on its own. You have to put a little bit of text to explain what the photo is. So that might be the other reason if you are putting it in the right place. You also have a hashtag open to work. This is a really great question. There's a couple of banners that you can have around your picture on LinkedIn. One of them is open to work and one of them is hiring. Open to work really is for if you're on the job market and you're looking for a job. So if you are a business owner, that's not necessarily one you want to have on your photo. And I see a lot of business owners putting that on, and then I'm thinking, oh my God, what's happened to their business? They're leaving their business, they're looking for a job. So from a psychology point of view, if you are a business owner and you have that banner on, people will probably assume that you're looking for a job. So if you are a business owner, I'd take that banner off. I'd only have it on if you're looking for a paid job or you're looking for maybe some consultancy work. And I'd only use the hiring banner if you are hiring in your business, or maybe you're a recruiter and you're hiring all the time. Susie, would you follow the same strategy for B2B? The strategy for B2B and B2C on LinkedIn is pretty much the same, because we're talking about personal profiles. It's people-to-people marketing. So whether you are looking to sell into corporate clients, whether you are looking to sell directly to a person, very, very similar strategy. It's all about knowing who that ideal client is and what it is that they need and how you can provide it for them, and how you can explain to them in such a simple way that they know exactly why they need it and how to buy it for you. But B2B and B2C on LinkedIn are very similar, and that's because you're still using your personal profile page. And that's only because LinkedIn doesn't show business pages to many people. As I said, you're 40 times more likely to get your content in the feed for a personal page than a business page. So everyone uses their personal pages for business. So that's perfectly normal on LinkedIn. Hopefully that answers that question. Let me know if it doesn't. So you want to use LinkedIn for your partner's business as well, which is exhibition design, targeting manager, directors and event managers. Absolutely fill your boots. You do amazingly on LinkedIn for that. Susie, when you send an invitation to connect, would you add the personalized note? This is an amazing question. And it's an amazing question because LinkedIn has added a feature where you can pay to send personalized notes. They used to let you do it for free. And it amuses me because actually I've tested this massively, and so have my clients. And you actually are more likely to get your connection request accepted without a personal note. You are also more likely to get people look at your profile before accepting a connection request. And we want them to look at your profile if you do not send them a note. And you are more likely to get a better result. And this is because about a year ago, LinkedIn changed the way that they deliver the notes. So you'll know this if you're on LinkedIn already. If someone sends you a note with a connection request, you click accept, it waits like 2 minutes and then it sends you the note. So you feel as if that person has tried to sell you something within 2 minutes if you're connecting to them. And it's a literal psychology thing. And I don't know why they did it, but it makes you feel as if you're in a sales process. So that's another reason why I wouldn't send a note, because of the way that LinkedIn delivers it. You are much better sending that follow-up thank you for connecting message, human to human, and they won't feel as if they're being sold to immediately. So hopefully that answers that question. Jane, you're trying to do it in your profile section, then add profile photo, which is failing. If it's the profile photo that's failing, Jane, it might be the wrong size. It probably is the size, so I would look at that. It might be the size, or if you have doctored it maybe in Canva, it might have changed the dimensions. So possibly that as well. It's not a common error at all. So there will be some reason why that particular photo is not working. So I'd maybe try a different one, or maybe it could be the size. Or if you've popped it in Canva, maybe put something around it. It might be that that's messed with the dimensions slightly. Julie, would you advise using emojis in your headline? No, absolutely not. Now, we talked a little tiny bit earlier about appearing in searches. So people who search for people like you, say they're looking for someone to provide a service for them, they will get you in their search. But actually, if you put emojis in, you're less likely to appear in their search because they'd have to put that emoji in. So anything like emojis, you do not want it in your name, because again, that can affect it, and you do not want it in your headline either. It is not a good idea. Sometimes you see people who appear to be very successful with emojis in, and actually it can hinder how many searches you appear in, so you can get less inquiries. So I would not put emojis in, purely for that reason, even though sometimes it looks quite nice. Susie, you've got 2 profiles. I have 2, one for each of my business roles. Technically, that's against LinkedIn's terms of service. You're supposed to have 1 personal profile. So that's a little bit of a grey area in itself. I'm presuming that your businesses are extremely different, in which case you can get thrown off LinkedIn for having it. I'll be perfectly honest and say that I do not teach anything that can get you thrown off LinkedIn, because lots of LinkedIn trainers do, and that is not what I'm about. I want you to have sustainable success. So you're only supposed to have 1 personal profile, and that is a LinkedIn rule. But I'm presuming that you've created 2 because maybe they're very, very different. In which case that's a personal choice. But I personally wouldn't do it, purely for the fact that if you're going to spend time and money on LinkedIn, it's going to be an important part of your strategy. You don't want to give LinkedIn any reason to throw you off. Mary, you've had the hiring message on your profile, but you didn't put it on. How do you turn it off? You will have put it on at some point by accident. So if you go to your profile picture, if you click on it on your main page, there'll be a tick box that's ticked that shouldn't be. So you'll be able to go and untick that. Julie, how do you know if you've created a business page and forgotten about it? It will be, you can search for it in the search bar for 1. You'll be able to see it in your settings. And if you have created it and married it to your personal page, which it should have asked you to do, you'll be able to see that it's got a logo on your personal page. Yeah, but you'll know. Basically, you'll know. You'll also have an option at the top in the search bar to change from your personal page to your business page as well. So it should be relatively obvious. But if you've created an old business page, you can't find it, it's not attached to your personal profile, you can create a new one anyway. But if you go to create a new one with the same name, it will automatically tell you you've already got one if you've already got one. So hopefully that will stop that from happening. Any more questions, everyone, before we finish? If you're watching on the replay and you have any questions about the LinkedIn Launchpad, absolutely let me know. If anyone who's watching now has any questions and wants to ask any questions before they join, just send me a DM. That is absolutely fine. If you want to be in with winning that prize where I write your profile for you and give you the content strategy document specific to your business, which includes 2 one-to-ones, make sure that you go and leave your review on your personal socials, tag me into it, and every single time I'm tagged, that will get you an entry into the draw, and we will draw that on the 20th, which is when the LinkedIn Launchpad officially opens. Sorry for keeping you a little bit longer than maybe some of you anticipated. You can probably tell that I get really excited about sharing all this stuff. So to be quite honest, I could talk about LinkedIn all day. So I very much have pared it down a little bit for you. Any more questions? If not, we shall leave it there, and I shall see you on whichever platform we connected on. And hopefully I will see quite a few of you in the LinkedIn Launchpad as well. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone.